Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, throw open your windows and call out to your neighbors. It's time for John Perrotta and Jessica Leigh's weekly check-in, sponsored in part by Doublemint. Why? Because sometimes one just simply is not enough. And now, your host, John Perrotta, who actually dated the Doublemint twins back in the 80s, and Jessica Leigh.
Jessica, how are you tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you, John?
This is going to be an interesting episode. That's what I'm going to tell you right up front. This is going to be must-see TV. We got a great panel tonight. Our sidekick Mike Cronin is here as usual. We got the very funny from New York City, John O'Connor. What's going on, Johnny?
We are in dire straits here, bud. My neighborhood is one of the 2 worst neighborhoods in Queens now for coronavirus.
Are you serious?
I'm in the red zone over here.
Wow.
Oh.
The actual, like, on the New York State website, don't go there zone.
Oh, my God, John.
I'm like at the end of my street is Queens Boulevard. That's the dividing line, so I'm like just inside the red zone.
Maybe you better cross the street.
I got to move over there, I think. Get my shit and move over there. Move my stuff and move over there. Sorry.
Get a sleeping. You can swear a little bit. You get a sleeping bag and go to the other side.
Yeah.
What are you going to do, John?
I'll just set up a tent in the park.
We don't want nothing to happen, John. You know what I mean?
You got that right.
That's tough to hear. And New York's got other stuff going on. Dangerfield's Comedy Club is closing.
Yep.
They say they may eventually relocate and after the pandemic and open up again, but I did it 3 times. I think you came out there a couple of times. And Jessica did it, I think.
I did, yeah. I did.
Yeah, that was a thrill.
So happy. Yeah. That was like, I was like, you know what? That was like such a good thing to do on a 5-degree night in New York City is to do that club before, it ends up closing down. I know, it's really sad.
Yeah, it's tough, but it was a thrill to do it. The first time I went there, it was just open mic, but I was nervous, Mike, because you had Sam Kennison perform there, Rodney, Dice Clay, Jim Carrey. I mean, it goes on and on. Bill Hicks. You know what I mean? The legends were there. So just to be there, even doing a 6-minute open mic spot, I was like thrilled. The first time I was really nervous. I don't know why.
How many does the room seat?
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
Probably 100 and change.
100, 125.
It's not 200. I'll tell you that. I don't think it's 200.
Nah, it's not. It's not a huge place, but it was fun. The times I did it was fun. I had a good time. Johnny came out to see me. Stacy Kendrow, Doug Key, Beecher, a few comics I knew in New York, so it was pretty cool. Did you ever go out there, Mike? Dangerfields?
Never ventured out there.
I love looking at Mike in the dark. You like that, John? You like the backdrop?
I love it.
Mike is he's colorblind. He thinks it's purple.
He looks like the owner of Jurassic Park after the lights went out.
That's a good one, Johnny. Can I steal that? I like that. That's a good one.
It's because of the hat.
Yes.
It's a nice hat. I can't pull a hat off like that.
Sure you could. You absolutely could.
No. I got to do this I don't know, getaway driver hat or something.
Scully cap.
The bow tie, you always look dapper.
Thank you.
Dapper Dan. You look sharp. You look sharp, Johnny. Doesn't he? I haven't worn a bow tie. I don't remember one. But bow ties look good on you.
Thank you. It's a new thing I'm trying. We'll see how it goes.
I like it. You're still working from home?
Oh yeah, still working from home. Thank goodness. I'll take it.
Because you're in the hot spot.
Now I don't want to leave the house at all.
What's Governor Cuomo's plan? Is he going to put you back down in lockdown? What's moving forward?
So what they did,
Johnny froze.
It's like based on what zone you're in, there's different rules per zone. But they pulled all the for a while they had street dining. They had people like sitting outside, eating outside and stuff, but none. It's all gone. You can only do takeout or delivery from the restaurants that are open.
And all the comedy clubs from last I knew, they were all closed.
Oh yeah, all closed. Yeah,
they were all closed. Yeah, that's tough. It has not been an easy year, and the winter's coming. We got to get through this winter, and God willing, we'll get the vaccine and we can get rolling again. What's going on with you, Jess? I love the pumpkin.
Oh,
I feel like I'm ready to walk. I feel like it's the.
I love spooky season, so I'm so excited.
It looks like you're in the beginning of the movie Halloween. You know,
I know.
Jessica's waiting for him to come in.
I actually, you know what's weird though is I haven't really watched like too many horror movies like since like October started, which like I don't even know which one I want to watch first. But I was thinking of watching the Psycho series because the last time I watched Psycho, and you bring it up every single time we talk, and I now want to watch like the remainder of them. So I think that
I watched 1, 2, and 3, but number 4 I couldn't get it on my TV. I don't know. I like to see part 4.
Oh,
I don't think that was it wasn't rated as good though. So.
Oh, I think I have all 4 like in one like DVD somewhere if I can dig that out. But
did you see the Psycho movies, Johnny?
I never saw it actually.
You never saw the original Psycho?
No, I grew up in a house. I wasn't allowed to watch horror movies. So now, as a grown man, I can't watch them. For the next month, I'm like flipping open the shower curtain and like opening the closet really fast, waiting for someone to pounce on me.
Mike Cronin doesn't watch horror movies either, Jess. We got 2 non-horror movie buffs.
I know.
Yes.
Yeah. It's the startle response I totally get. I just like to torture myself, I think, sometimes with horror movies. I don't know what it is, like, but yeah, it's like I like the torture, but yeah, I'm definitely looking in the shower curtain for the
I saw Psycho in the 60s. I must have been 7, 8, 9 years old. My father had it on, I watched it, and I've been hooked on horror movies ever since. You know what I mean, Mike? I never acted out, thank God, the scenes, but that was a classic. And at least I wasn't a kid that acted out the movies. You know what I mean? My mother in the shower. I didn't go in there with something, you know. But Johnny, you have to see the shower scene. Alfred Hitchcock. There was so many takes they took of this amazing shower scene. Janet Leigh and Anthony Perkins comes in. You got to see it.
I know it's like the all-time classic horror movie.
Classic.
Yeah, and it's kind of like I don't want to say the first one, but kind of the first big one that was like that, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
She also, I guess, didn't take like showers after that for a while. She would only take like baths and like wash her hair like that. That's what I heard from like somebody who watched like an interview or something like that with her, that like after doing that scene, she was like, I'm all set with like taking showers. I have to say, every time I watch that movie, when I take a shower, I'm like, why am I on edge right now? You know, and it's like, so I don't know. That part is just a lot.
I got to say this. Alfred Hitchcock is they call him the master of suspense. And some of his movies were not horror movies. Like there's a movie North by Northwest with Cary Grant. It was made in like 58 when I was born, 59. Awesome movie. You ever see that, Johnny?
I saw it in college. I don't remember it very well, but I did see that in college. Yeah.
Suspense.
For a class. I remember it being cool. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of Hitchcock's movies, they weren't all horror. You know what I mean? It was a movie, Frenzy. It was about a rapist. I saw that 3 times in one day. Me and my buddy went to a cinema in Garden City, Cranston, and we watched. One time we watched it, and then we said, we'll just stay here. Nobody told us to leave. We watched it again. We liked it so much. We stayed 3 times. 3 times to see Frenzy, Mike. You can't watch it once.
That would not happen. That's not my wheelhouse.
Oh, we got a surprise guest tonight. Come on, Johnny. Who do you think it is?
Who do I think it is? I don't know.
You don't know?
Uh-oh.
He's upside down. Katie, you're upside down. You gotta. There we go. Katie O'Connor's in the house.
Yeah.
Katie, you know this dude, John O'Connor, your brother. How you doing, Katie?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Happy birthday. We thought we'd have Katie come on. I said, why don't we surprise John?
Oh, that's great. Thank you,
Just
guys.
coming on. So when's the last time you guys saw each other?
Christmas.
Christmas.
Wow. You
Yeah.
haven't seen each other the whole pandemic, huh?
Well, you got to figure it was like in February, it hit here the hardest. That was the first place this was the whatever it was, New Rochelle, right up the street here was the epicenter in the US. So I didn't want to like go home. You know, my parents are in their 60s. Like I got other people that are older and stuff. So I didn't want to travel home. And then since then it's like, well, I don't know. I'm still around it. I don't want to bring it over there. And even if I go home, it's like I'm going to wave from the lawn. Like
I know, right?
Yeah, you're being safe, Jay.
Yeah.
Katie, you know Mike Cronin?
Of course I know.
Mike Cronin
Yes.
and Jessica Leigh?
No,
Of
I'm so
course,
excited that you came on.
You know what's crazy? Jessica is like friends with Katie and my first cousin, Mikey.
Yeah, I was just telling John before you guys came on. I was like, oh my God, that's so awesome that Katie's coming on. We talked at like Laugh Boston one night about how I know their cousin. I was really good friends with them growing up. I was really, really good friends with their cousin growing up. So it was like, oh my God, like that's a name to drop from Norwood for sure.
It was shocking, yeah.
Mikey, I just saw him actually in Bar Harbor. He came glamping with us.
Oh yeah.
Out of Massachusetts.
Katie's got the hat on. John's got the hat. Mike's got the hat.
I love Katie's hat.
I'm
I need to find out where you got that hat, Katie, so I can rush out and get one.
No hats over here.
I know we don't have hats. I almost wish we had hats now that everyone else has hats.
I know we should have hats. Katie, so John always told me you're an actress. Till the pandemic hit. Have you done much at all? Or?
Honestly, I actually just when it hit in March, I was supposed to be going down to DC to their film festival down there, and I was going to be premiering a short film of mine with my castmates, and that got canceled. It was actually postponed until I think it was August, and then they completely canceled it and postponed it till next year. So I was actually getting somewhere, and then everything was put on hold. And
I think things will come back. Things will come back at some point.
Yeah, it's it's been hard. I've definitely felt the waves of the ups and the downs from this pandemic, and just trying to count my blessings. I have people that I love and care about still around me. You know what I mean, and not try to focus too much on my career being at a halt right now.
And you got a beautiful brother who's got probably the sharpest bow tie in New York. Right
I
now.
know.
God.
No doubt. There's no doubt.
He's gorgeous. Katie's beautiful. Johnny's gorgeous. What a beautiful family we got here.
I know the O'Connor family is just simply gorgeous.
The genes are good. The genes are good, Johnny.
They are.
Things are good.
I remember one time recently, not too long ago, I get this friend request from a Katie Calori. I'm saying to myself, I'm friends with Katie. I gotta let her know someone is stealing her identification on Facebook.
Well, I went with my grandmother's maiden name because O'Connor is so common, and as Jay originally, he had a stage name. There are so many Katie O'Connors out there. I wanted to stand out. So
that's a great name. Katie Calori is absolutely a great name.
Thank you.
If that name alone doesn't get you an Academy Award, I'm starting to write letters. I'm starting to write a lot of letters.
I hope you're foreshadowing something. Give me that.
Yes.
I remember the night at the Comedy Connection. I think John was coming in from out of town. You were there, or you were coming in from out of town. You had a lot of people there, Katie, and John didn't know when he came in. Remember that night? It was.
When I was in Texas, and I flew back one night or something.
Yeah, you came back. I remember Katie was there surprising you, and there was some bunch of friends or whatever. I remember that night. I think
it was always nice over there.
I always had a crew with me, didn't I, Jay?
Yeah. Yes, you did. And it was always an adventure.
Always an adventure, huh? John, there's things we can't get into tonight.
You got that right, buddy.
That's
Johnny.
A different show.
Johnny, can I see that dog again?
You want to see the dog?
Yeah. Bring that dog back.
This dog?
Yeah. Yeah. Did you rob a carnival?
I don't know where she got that.
That's the kind of dog you get if you win the big game.
That's right. That's
like
$100. I'm trying to get it.
She doesn't live here anymore, but she left us stuffed animals. She's got stuffed animals all over.
It's nice.
She's into stuffed animals.
It's 85,000 tickets for that thing.
She's buying a dog this Saturday. Her and her husband. They're driving. Now me, if I was getting a dog, I wouldn't go more than a half hour away. They're driving 5 hours to some town in Pennsylvania. I forget the kind of dog they're getting. And then they're going to drive back. 10 hours of driving to get a dog.
Ask my sister where she got her dog.
Wait, don't tell me you drove 5 hours to get your dog.
No, she didn't.
I drove 18.
18 hours to get a dog? Katie, I don't know you really well, but I think you're unstable like your brother. If you're driving 18 hours to get a dog, where was he at, the dog?
He was in Ohio, and he came from a St. Bernard breeder.
Listen, next time, Katie, call me up. I'll get the dog shipped to you. I'll get him shipped to you. That's 36 hours of driving, Katie.
I know, and actually, my boyfriend's truck broke while we were there, so we got the dog, and then he had to fix the truck, and then we stayed overnight at the hotel. Yeah.
So it was like a 4-day ordeal to get a dog. I don't like. I'm a typical Rhode Islander. If I got to drive 1.5 hours, it's dicey. I'm not big on driving. I did Uber for a while. This was one time I was just gonna go home and a ride came up. I didn't realize it was a long distance ride, right? So I didn't realize it. I pressed the ticket. I picked up this kid, gets in a car, he's got a suitcase. I said, "Where you going?" Logan Airport. I'm in down Providence, right? The last thing I wanted to do, I was ready to go home and have my meatballs, Katie, right? The last thing I want to do is drive to Logan Airport and back. And I had to do it because I don't do Uber anymore. I'll put it that way.
You picked me up one night, Johnny P.
And one night I blew Mike Cronin's mind. He put an Uber in. I go to his house. I didn't even know where he had moved. And I go and he gets in the car and I look, Mike Cronin. He said, John Perrotta. I said, I'm your Uber driver. And then
I used to be a taxi cab driver in Boston.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And I remember one night, when I first started Ubering, I picked up this girl. She gets in the car. I said, "Where you going?" She said, it was Guys and Dolls strip club. So I'm driving to the strip club. I drop her off. I called my wife up. I said, "Hey, honey," I said, "I just spent a half hour with a stripper." She said, "What?" And I said, "Yeah, and she paid me." It was crazy. My Uber experience, it's nuts doing Uber.
I drove Uber for 34 rides. I had a beautiful Lincoln Town car. I get this request up by Providence College. So I drive up there. It's probably about 20 degrees. It had snowed that day. These 3 girls come down the walkway. A cocktail napkin that you would see on a table was more material than the clothes that they had on. One of them had on a dress that one of those like short dresses that wouldn't even qualify as a dress. The other one had on booty shorts that were like, I think they started at the end of her belly button. Sheer tops. So they get in the car. They're all on their phones. They're talking. They're giggling back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I drive them downtown to go to this club. Now, boys and girls, and you viewing at home, this club, the line goes down the steps, all the way down around the block, and it wraps. So I pull up and I said, "You don't have jackets. Is this a good decision?" So then, yeah, this is a fun place. So I told them, I said, "I am a father and a grandfather. Here's what I'm going to leave you with, girls. Make good decisions." All 3 of them, like on cue from a Beyonce video, go like this. "Oh, thank you." And they flip their hair back out and off they went into the frigid night air. I could not believe it.
At least they weren't driving 18 hours for a dog, right, Katie? I would much rather wait out in the cold for a half hour than drive 18 hours to get it. And I love beagles, but that's it. I wouldn't. One more Uber thing. One more. You talk Providence College, Johnny. I went to the Last Resort, this club in Smithfield, Rhode Island. PC College, Providence College students. Yeah. These girls get in my car. I had a Chevy Impala. I swear to God, there must have been 7 or 8 girls. They squished all in. It's 1 in the morning. They're all lit up. I'm driving to a PC. I'm not supposed to have that many in the car. They crank my radio up. They're all singing and dancing. I'm driving the car. I got to be out of my mind. I'm 60 years old. I got a car full of 20-year-old girls who are all tanked, Johnny. It was nuts, man. Have you done Uber yet, Johnny?
You when I needed you during my days.
Yeah, I would have been
I would have loved you as my Uber driver.
I was a good Uber driver. I did it for a while, but I got tired of it. Too much nonsense, you know. Too Too many crazy stories,
I'm
crazy
sure you've
things happen.
seen it all. You have seen it all.
I've seen some stuff, Katie. I've seen some stuff. But Jess, what's on your mind? I got stuff on my mind. I gotta cover something tonight.
I signed up to be an Uber driver, but then didn't do anything with it because I didn't need to, like, because I got a second job. So I've never driven for Uber, but I do drive for work, but not right now because I'm working from home. But it can be definitely a lot because when you think that you're going in like one place and then you get a call to go across the state, it's like, oh boy.
Yeah, it gets kind of. I know a guy. Well, Mike Murray does Uber. He was telling me he picked up a guy and took him to New York City a few weeks ago. I said, New York City?
God.
Yeah, he took him, what's that, like 2.5, 3 hour ride each way. You're driving 5, 6 hours. I was like,
that's with no traffic.
You don't get paid for like your route back, right? It's
nah, you just get paid going there and back. I wouldn't go to New York City to drive, you know. I mean, when I went to do the shows, I took a train. And I don't even want to think about driving in New York City. Have you guys driven in New York?
Yes.
I have, but I don't have when I moved here, I gave my car to my brother, so I don't have a car anymore. But when I drove in New York City a few times when I came down here to do shows before I lived here.
It seems crazy out there to drive. I don't know. I love New York City for a few days, but to drive out there. Yeah.
It's hectic. There's no doubt. It's a lot, but I don't know.
But don't you miss driving?
I miss driving so much because it was like, it was the biggest luxury. When you're driving, even though there's other people around you, the car is yours. It's just your space. So there's no one else's music blaring in your ear. There's no one asking for money. There's no one spilling over into your seat. It's just like my time to relax. And I miss that. I miss that solitude.
Yeah. I love driving, but I just did the Uber goofing around after I retired. I thought, I'll see how it goes, you know, but crazy. I had a guy get in at the courthouse one day. He had tattoos of tears going down his face. And he looked freaky. And he got in my car and I'm looking at him and said, great, I just picked up a serial killer. Holy shit.
Yeah. Those are all supposed to be kills. All those tears. That means you killed somebody.
Is that what that means, Johnny?
Is that what that means?
Yeah, every tear is a kill. That's what it's supposed to mean.
Goodness gracious.
Are you serious, Katie?
I'm not joking. That's supposed to be what it means.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Now, good thing I pulled it. I didn't know then. I would have really shit my pants.
I would have asked him to get out of the car. I wouldn't have proceeded if I had that information. What would have happened? I was at JFK Airport last year, flying home. I missed my flight. Now, when I get there, I'm not a frequent flyer. I don't even like to fly. So I get there, and I show everyone my boarding pass, and this guy said, you're going to go right through here. Then you're going to take a right, walk all the way down. Gate 13 is right there. You're all set. So I get there. I'm early. I'm talking super early. That whole wing of the airport isn't even, like, open yet. There's no one there. I'm like, wow, this is awesome. I'm going to make it. So now, like, I'm saying to myself, why isn't anyone getting near, like, coming up? This place is, like, barren. So I stopped this person in a lime yellow vest, and I said, excuse me, I'm making this flight, but there's no one here. And he says to me, you got to go on the other side of the airport. I'm like, excuse, the other side of what? The other side of the airport. And he says, and you better run. I'm like, dude, at the time I'm like 61. I'm like, dude, I'm 61 years old. What part of me do you see triathlete in? So off I go, running, gasping. And I'm telling you, I'm going to, if I had a camera on me, I could have made a documentary. I'm going downstairs running, upstairs running. I finally get there. I go up gasping for breath. I show them my boarding pass, and the woman says, I'm sorry, we've closed the door. Let me close the door. I'm looking at the airplane. It's right there. I can't get on. It's right there. Just tell them I'm late. I'm sorry. Can't. Once we've sealed the door, we can't open it. Seal it? What are you sealing it for? Just open it and let me back on.
Where were you flying to, Mike?
I was flying to Logan to come back home to Rhode Island.
So you were in New York. You went to fly to Logan.
Yep, I was in New York. I was training.
You weren't getting a dog out there, were you?
No, I wasn't getting a dog. I wasn't. It would have made it fun if I would.
Everybody seems to be traveling, getting dogs.
I would have had a dog for the ride home. So now they tell me, go to this gate and then you can connect with another flight. So I go to that gate and the guy is giving me this song and dance. So finally I said, look, dude, give it to me like I am your best friend, like I'm your brother. Am I getting on this plane? He looks at me, goes, no. He goes, as a matter of fact, we're going to be asking people to get off the plane because of a weight load problem. It was a small plane. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. When's your next flight so I can get out of here? Tomorrow. I called Uber. This guy with the gigantic turban, his name was Chattel, picks me up, $513 to drop me off at my door here in North Providence.
$500?
$513.
Jeez, Mike.
My God.
I think you need a travel agent.
Yeah.
I don't want to say anything, Mike, but
baby.
I think you need some assistance. When you're going to travel again, talk to Katie, John, me, Jess. We'll stay in the right direction. You know what I mean?
Katie and John, they're both celebrities. These are handsome and beautiful people. They're not going to be Grampy Mike's assistant. That's not going to happen.
My
Grampy
brother's
Mike, I like that.
That's what my granddaughter calls me, Grampy Mike.
I like that.
She always says to me, Grampy Mike, you're funny.
It's better than Grumpy Mikey.
That's true. That's true. I don't think anyone will ever say that Grampy Mike is Grumpy Mike.
Well, we've kept it light up to now.
Oh,
When I
no.
told before the show, I told Jess and Mike, I got a kind of I don't know if you call it, I think it's pretty serious. I got a serious thing I gotta talk about. If they're that cool with you guys.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Now I've been doing comedy 29 years, putting shows together. Through the years, here and there, I partnered up with other comedians, and we partnered up with Mike Cronin probably a few times, and other comedians through the years, and I never had much trouble. And about 3 years ago, I got involved with this New England comedian, and I didn't know much about him, and I worked in a prison 36 years. You'd think I would be a little more on the ball, but I slipped up this time. I got involved with this guy, and he seemed like a good kid, and he was talking, he put shows together, Artie Lang and TJ Miller and all these different big headliners. And I'm in Rhode Island, I got stuff going on here, and I said, I'd like to get a little more involved and get into Connecticut a little bit, and maybe it's worth me partnering up with this guy and see what happens. So naturally, at first he was he was real cool. I gave him some money towards a show, towards a headliner we were going to get. He booked me a couple of times, gave me like $500 a show. I figured, he was reeling me in what he was doing. He's a con artist. So I had given him some money, and I wound up giving him a little more money. And we got Artie Lang. We're going to put this show together. We're going to have Artie Lang at this club. We're going to have TJ Miller over here. And he just convinced me that this stuff was going to happen. And then as time went on, I started realizing he was changing the dates. He wasn't coming up with the flyer. He was flim-flamming me. You know what I mean? And I was into this kid. No one knows this. My wife doesn't know. Mike Cronin doesn't know. The O'Connors don't know. Jessica Leigh doesn't know. My wife, nobody knows this. Rock and Joe Ebert, my great friend. I was into this kid because I believe in giving him a shot. And I wanted to make some, if you guys know me, comedy's my passion, like a lot of you guys here. And I wanted to make other things happen with the comedy. I was doing well in Rhode Island and Mass. I figured, let me spread out to Connecticut. So anyway, I was in $3,000 to this kid, $3,000. And one excuse led to another excuse. So he paid me $100 here, nothing here. I'm gonna Venmo you the money tomorrow. I got a check, I got a cash. Story after story after story. It just went on and on. And I kept, I got mad a few times. I said, what can I do? I've been in the business 29 years. You'd think I would have common sense not to get involved with somebody I didn't know that well. But unfortunately, I trusted him. And sometimes in life, we can't trust people. You know what I mean? And so like I said, I invested with this kid. And we're going to make all these shows happen. Nothing happened. There was no Artie Lang show. There was no TJ Miller show. There was no nothing. It was all a bunch of bullshit. Nothing ever happened. The last thing I know now, he moved to Florida. I text him now and then. I send him a Facebook message. I'm gonna fly out to Florida and put. I said I don't want to fly out to Florida and be in a show. I said you owe me $3,000. Give me $100 a month for 30 months. I've given the kid like 2.5, 3 years now. So I think that's more than fair. And I said I'm not gonna ever go public. I'm not gonna go public. This between me and you. You gotta just work out a payment plan. Never did. One story after the other. This kid's name is Vinny Beetle. I don't know if you guys ever heard of him, Vinny Beetle. But I'm putting this out here tonight. I'm going to put it on the post when I post the show. We always keep this lighthearted. But this is something that's been bothering me for a long time. And I consider myself a good guy, a good businessman. And I've helped a lot of comics get stage time. And like I said, I partnered up with comics. And if Johnny ever wanted to do a show or a club in New York, wanted to go partners, I'd go out there. That's what I do. I put shows together. I get involved with other people, and it's worked good for me until I met Vinny Beetle. And I didn't know enough about him, and by the time I figured it out, I was out $3,000. So what do you guys got? Mike, what do you have to say to this?
I have a few attorneys I could turn you on to.
I just don't think I'll ever see it because he flim-flammed me. There was no written contract. I asked him for something. He never wrote anything. I went and met him in a parking lot in Connecticut, this restaurant. I gave him $1,000. Oh, I'm gonna have the flyer next week. We got Artie Lang's gonna be at this show, and he sold me on it. You know, and I figured this is great. I got my stuff going on Rhode Island and Mass. I get this going in Connecticut. I was kind of looking to expand, and I was doing really well before the pandemic. So I was really, into it, and just throwing names around. We'll get Artie Lang. That'd be awesome, So, yeah. So I mean, what do you make of this, Johnny? Now you know me a long time. You know I'm a straight shooter. I pay comics the night of the show. I never screwed anybody any money in the business. I always pay everybody. No. I never anticipated this happening to me, and I'm kind of pissed. But I'm not the type that's going to go out to Florida and get in a fight with this kid. I'm 62 years old. I mean, he's an asshole. He's an asshole is what he is. He's, so what do you got to say, Johnny, on this?
How did you give him the money? Was it a check?
Cash. Because that's what I mean. What am I going to do? There's nothing I can really do but put it out there. I want people to know, so other comics will be warned of this guy, that some probably already know, some don't. But I want to put it out there because I've waited long enough. I'm mad that I got in this situation, but I want to put it out there so other comics, it doesn't happen to you. You know what I mean? If you don't get involved with this kid and he sells you a song and a dance, I'm going to get this headliner. I know this headliner. And so that's what happened to me, So I'm kind of embarrassed that it happened to me because, I mean, I'm not the greatest businessman in the world, but I wasn't the worst. I was pretty decent. I ran a lot of dinner shows and did well with the comedy. So, this is the one time in my 29 years of comedy that I got, luckily it was only 3,000. It could have been a lot more, you know what I mean? But I stopped myself at that and said, hey, these shows are not happening. And like I said, one thing, it just went on and on and on. Katie, what do you think? What do you make of this?
Well, since I've known you, you have like the biggest heart out of anybody. I think unfortunately, sometimes it happens to the best of us, especially when we trust people and we always want to see the good in them. I think that's what you're about. I think you're very fair. And I think what you're doing by exposing him is the right thing to do. So nobody else, gets burned by him, because I mean, this happens all the time.
It does happen, Katie. Katie's right.
Yeah. And it's good to talk about it because then, people get to know, if they reach out and whatnot, what they're all about. So I think it's admirable of you to be talking about it because it's a serious and it happens a lot.
Yeah, I think I held it in. I held it in longer than I should have because I kept thinking that he'll come around. And, like I offered him payment plans or send me $50, $100, whatever. Just make an effort. And he made zero effort. Jess, what do you make of this? You're the therapist. This is the weekly check-in.
The therapist.
Got a lot going through my head, but definitely like going off of what Katie was talking about you having a huge heart and how this definitely can happen to people who have big hearts. But I'm also thinking back to, you said this was 3 years ago?
Maybe about between 2 and 3 years. Yeah, the last around 2017, 18, and there, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
It went on for a period of months because he kept changing the dates. So Artie Lang can't do this date because of this or that. He changing things around and making me believe, okay, that's going to happen there on this date. And then when I'm waiting for the flyer to promote it, he's not giving me the flyer. I'm messaging him. He's not getting back to me. Then he gets back to me with a song and a dance, and it's just ridiculous. So he's, of anybody I ever met in comedy in 29 years, he's the biggest. I don't know what you want to call it. He's the worst guy I ever met in comedy. As far as I would never do that to anybody in a million years. I would never do that. You know, I mean, I don't know why I trusted the guy.
Were the
shame on me,
venues
you know?
Kind of.
Were the venues going to be your rooms, John?
Well, we talked about different venues. Yeah, it was going to be him and I. He'd get a place, and we're going to put the show on there. We picked the date. All right, we got this comic coming in. It was Artie Lang or T.J. Miller. We're talking about the Knights of Columbus or Warwick and different halls, and it's different. I don't remember all the details. I just know I gave him $3,000, and he had 9 million excuses of why he couldn't pay me at different times, and you know. So I finally messaged him today, and I just told him, I said, I'm going on the Zoom show tonight with it. I've held it in long enough, and he's got to be exposed. You know what I mean? And there's people that probably know him. There's people that probably know him that are not going to be surprised at all. I didn't know him well enough. I should have checked him out more. I shouldn't have. But like I said, he gave me $500 a gig. I did a couple of shows for him in Connecticut. So I'll pay you $500. So he was reeling me. Now looking back, he was reeling me in. Okay, I'll give him $500, make it look good. I'll have him back a few weeks later, give him $500. It was good money, $500 to do 40 minutes. So what he was doing was reeling me in. That's what he was doing, you know.
I think my brother went through something similar to this. I mean, that's his choice to talk.
Yeah, I did. I had a friend of mine burn me for almost the same amount.
Yeah.
But there came a point where I was just like, I can either continue to hate this person for the next 10 years that it's going to take for that person to pay me back, or I can just cut it out and move on. And it's different because it wasn't a business thing. It was just this person needed help, so I helped them. Yeah. And it became a thing where after a certain amount of time, years, I'm talking years, you know, now I needed the money back. And they were just like, well, and it was like, all right. And then it became like and then eventually I just got to the point where it was unhealthy, you know, like it was ruining my life being upset about it.
Yeah.
So I just said, all right, well, I'll cut this person loose, which I did. And of course they were like, to give you a frame of reference. Okay. Remember Jay Mayo?
Yeah.
I don't think Jay does stand up anymore, but Jay used to do stand up and he had a podcast, right?
Yeah.
Jay asked me to be on his podcast, which I was.
I was on it too. Yeah.
And he said, like a week later, he messaged me to be like, hey, we got our first hate mail about your episode. And immediately I was like, I know exactly who it was. It was this person. And sure enough, I go, forward me the email. Because I blocked this person. I blocked them. I blocked their whole family. I blocked them everywhere. I was like, you are out of my life. Keep the money. Those were my words. Keep the money, but we're done. This person must have signed up for like a Google alert or something for me. Because then when Jay had me on the episode, this person took the time to write this email about like what a failure I was as a comedian and how I wasn't funny and all of this stuff. This is a person I helped. This is a person that I gave money to in their most desperate hour. Yep. But then in their free time, that's I mean, that's the work of like a sociopath or something,
Yeah.
you know? So I was just like, you know what? And so I made up an email address and I sent it to them and I said, I don't know what your deal is. I don't know why you have to find me in your spare time, even though I've made it a point to remove myself from your existence. But you are literally in your free time now, so you can feel better about yourself, seeking me out so that you can talk trash about me so that I'll see it. And I'm like, your words mean nothing. They haven't meant anything for years. So keep all your words, keep the money, and we'll be done. And of course, the person wrote back and still didn't even acknowledge like what had happened, and then just said, don't worry, I'll pay you. And I was like,
Yeah, that's
Go
what
ahead.
he keeps saying too. Yeah,
send me
don't
that
worry.
check anytime.
I'm waiting on this big show. When I make this much money, I'm going to pay you. And then he had me booked in New Jersey, and then that fell through. And there's more stories to this. Like, I don't even, so much happened that I can't remember it all. But
Of
I think
course.
part of the reason why tonight that I said I'm going to do this is because I want to let it out and I want to forget this guy. I just want to forget him. But I also want to get the word out to other comics and anybody else in general in New England.
Yeah.
If he ever comes back, stay away from this guy. Don't book him. If you're friends with him, either unfriend him or send him a message and tell him, why'd you do this to John Perrotta? Because I didn't deserve this, man. You know, I wouldn't do that to my worst enemy. I would never do that. You know,
Johnny, whenever I've worked for you, you've paid me before I went on.
Yeah,
Before
that's how I
I went
am.
on.
I bring
No
the
one
money.
does that.
I pay
That's
everybody.
a lot.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
And
I'm a stand-up guy, Katie. You know,
I
in the
know
business,
you are
Yeah.
100% since I've met you, you know. And I think my brother went through something similar too with somebody else. Like, Jay, didn't some club owner not pay you for a gig or something? And that was a big order.
That
Was a nightmare.
that was, yeah. I did pull a. I won't say the club, but it was
The person.
it was common knowledge that this club did this to people a lot. And at the time I wasn't working, so they asked me to fill in last minute, which I did, and then it was July that I did the gig, and in November I still didn't have the money. So finally I was like, you know what? Now it's about principle. I don't care if I ever work there again. And I just went on a Facebook message group for like Rhode Island comics, and I was like, hey, does such and such, how many people does such and such owe money to? And it was just like all the way down the line.
I know the club you're talking
And
about.
then I got a phone call like 20 minutes later, and I'm like, that's funny. This person's not in that group, but some little mole in this group tipped them off, and now all of a sudden I got a call, and I got a headline date, and I got it was like, come down on Friday, we'll let you headline, and I'll give you all the money then. And I said,
It wasn't in Lincoln, Rhode Island, was it?
I don't want to say where it was. Or
I know where it was, Johnny. You don't have to tell me.
But then my favorite part was I go right over there, and I'm waiting the whole time. I got there 2 hours early just to wait to make sure I didn't miss the person. And then they called me to be like, hey, I'm not going to make it, but I just gave your money to so-and-so. So within like a 2-minute window, I go find so-and-so, and I say, hey, have you seen person A today? And they were like, no. And I was like, well, person A just called me, told me they just handed you a bunch of money that they've owed me since July. And then I was a jerk to the person. Then I apologized for it later, but I was just like, I need $250 in my hand or I'm not going up. And they were just like, okay. And they went and got it, and it all worked out. It's the only time I've ever been a jerk like that in stand-up. And then I did apologize to that person because it had nothing to do with them. But yeah, just the runaround. It's like, it shouldn't take 4 months for me to get a check. It shouldn't, especially when I filled in.
Yeah, I would never in a million years do that to somebody and then keep making excuses. Or at worst, I'd borrow it off somebody else if I didn't have it, just to give it to that person, and then I'll get it to you when I can or whatever. I just can't. See, it's not in me to do that, John. You know what I mean?
No.
It's not in me to screw people over financially,
I've had times in my life where I've owed people money, And I've been like Johnny on the spot with the updates. Like, this is the day I get my check. On that day, I give you this much. Then next week, I get another check, and then you get this much. You'll have it all by this day. And then if something happens, the instant it happens, I'm like, hey, so here's the deal. Like, I let people know, up to date, CNN, news ticker, Telegraph style. They know everything that's happening. There's none of this like showing up there, and then it's like, well, my house burned down, but no, it didn't. I know it didn't burn down.
Somehow we can make this funny. You got to laugh, because what else
No,
can you do?
honestly.
I got to
No,
laugh.
I
'Cause
just
I
don't give money
gotta
to anybody.
forget this guy, and you got to forget that guy in that club. When this
Yeah.
episode's over, I already blocked him on Facebook. I'll block his number and forget. I got to forget about him, because it's not worth it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And karma is a biatch. Don't
Oh yeah,
forget.
he's gonna get karma. You don't do that to somebody. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm not the greatest guy in the world, but in my life, I've had my moments. But in comedy, I've always been stand up. I always paid everybody. I always, did just treated people good. Whether it was a new comic, a headliner, people in the audience, whatever. I try to treat people good. You know what I mean? And the last thing I would do is screw somebody over, right, Jess?
I know. Well, so that's what I was thinking of earlier. So you said this was a few years ago. So you were going like a madman a few years ago with comedy, and like you were going so fast you didn't even know what was going on around you. But also like this would be like a dream come true for you, and it's not something that like would be like so far off that it wouldn't be a possibility for you. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a reasonable dream that and I don't know this person, the name sounds familiar, but I don't know, but everybody's name sounds familiar. So it's like, but he's like dangling this, this carrot in front of you, and he's doing it in a very particular fashion. But also like what's sticking out to me, first of all, I feel like everyone on here, like their hearts have been on their sleeves throughout this chat. And I'm like the same exact type of way, but also like, I can relate a lot just in terms of like, because I consider myself a very smart person, and I'm like, how did I still get manipulated there though? And this is like, even like after like years of really working through some stuff, like getting a master's degree, like a lot of types of things. And I'm like, how did I just get like screwed over here on like ultimate degree? So that's something that I definitely can relate to. But also like, John, you do have like a story that has a lot of twists and turns to it, and you do see the best in people because you've been through some things that aren't so great, because you've made some decisions that like you've had to like really make different decisions to counteract those decisions. And it's so like when somebody, like, you see the best in somebody, so much so to the point that this person screwed you over and you looked into a payment plan for them. Like, if that doesn't show you who you are as a person, like that's like, I don't know what else could possibly show like how amazing of a human being that you are, that like even after 3 years of this dude, like, giving you the runaround over $3,000, which is a lot of money, and like you still were like giving him chances until the very end, until like you were like, you know what, then your consequence from me is I'm gonna put it out there that people shouldn't work for you. And that was it, like, and Katie's right, like he will get his karma in his own type of way. Like that's how the universe works. You don't even have to do anything, but like putting it out there so other people don't get screwed over, I think is definitely a good thing. And John O'Connor, I mean, if your definition of being an asshole is setting boundaries, that's, I mean, come on, like it's did you do it with the bow tie on?
No, that was back in the day before bow ties. But yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where it's like, look, I helped you.
Yeah.
And now you're mad at me.
Yeah, because you pulled back, also with, and that's the other thing is when you're in a situation that's a one-way street where you're giving and giving and giving and giving and giving, and that can be a romantic relationship, a friend, somebody who's sociopathic, narcissistic, like just take, and then you're completely drained. So you're like, I need to step back for myself because I've given you all that I can give you. And they're like, they can't see it. They can't they can't empathize with like your perspective at all. And it's like,
No.
well, then now you just pissed me off because you have now taken away from me, you know? So it's almost like somebody like that looks as like you screwing them over, which is why you got like a nasty email comment, you know, over a podcast that
Which is why I got a stalker nasty email comment.
yeah.
They had to go
Crazy.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
They had to go so
Mhm.
far out of their own way to find me
Yeah.
to then take a dump on me.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I know. I
It's like,
try
why
to
don't you just keep the money?
I try to see what's best in everybody, 'cause I've had to make a lot of changes in my life, and it's, you know, and I know that change is very possible, and it's like, but you can't do the work for someone else, I've noticed, and I've learned that the hard way, which, you know, is definitely a lesson in itself, but like, it's, you know, but if there's anything seriously, I mean, John Perrotta, you really, like, you gave this a chance, and you didn't even tell anybody about it, like,
I
until
told no one. I didn't tell my wife, my best friends. No one knows this till tonight. I let it out tonight. And the thing was, if I went, say half what you want to show, Jess, and that night we have the show, we lose 800, we lose 400 apiece, that's different. I know I lost money at the show. Okay. These shows never happened. They were a figment of his imagination. So it's not like if I go in with Mike Cronin and we do a show and we lose $1,000 or we lost 1,000, it's not like that. The shows never took place. It was all a scam. It was all bullshit. He's a scam artist, Vinny Beetle. You know?
Well, he's never gonna have a good career from here on out because he burned the wrong bridge. And
I mean,
this was a silly bridge to burn, I think.
I mean, I helped a lot of people. I was willing to help him get stage time and get him in some shows. I helped a lot of people, and I guess consider how many people I helped through the years, and one burned me real bad. I guess that's not a bad ratio. You know what I mean?
That's true.
definitely, and I think you handled it amazing. I mean, just says a lot about you. You haven't spoken about it until now. You know, you were hoping for the best for a few years, and now you're talking about it to help others understand that he's not a good person. You know?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, when you remove those people from your life, it improves tenfold. That's one thing I've learned. I don't have time for anybody anymore. Anybody that's like nonsense and bull crap. I don't even, my favorite thing in life is clicking unfollow on Facebook or Instagram. It's just like, oh no, we're friends, but no. Oh, actually, I take it back. My favorite thing in the world is when I go on Facebook and I see someone that I used to be friends with show up in like people you may know. It's like, oh, so they unfriended me. Perfect. So then I block the living crap out of them. And it's only because it's like, listen, I'm not petty, but if you don't want to be fake friends with me, we're not going to be real friends.
You showed them, Jay.
Hey, when they come looking for money, they're not going to find me.
I guess this was a good episode to have John and Katie on tonight because we got kind of tied into my story.
I like how Katie's hat coordinates with her curtains too. Look,
Hey, look, it's E.T.
It's a cute dog, Katie. What kind of dog is that?
This is Pork Chop. This is my pug.
Oh,
He's been barking.
Is this the one you drove 18 hours for?
No, that's the St.
St.
Bernard.
Bernard.
Actually.
Oh, okay.
He loves Jay.
You still got the St. Bernard too?
Oh yeah,
I got three dogs.
You got 3 dogs?
Yeah.
Wow. Believe it or not, I called a place today. I was thinking about getting a dog, and the guy told me right now, because of the pandemic, everybody wanted a dog.
Yep.
Yes.
There's no dogs. You can't get a dog.
No.
You gotta be kidding me. See, I get a dog, somebody I can pet with if I get the $3,000, right? There's no dogs. I can't even drive 18 hours to get a dog. There's no dogs. If you ever told me that there'd be a shortage on, if you said there'd be a shortage on dogs, you're kidding me. There's a shortage on dogs.
There is. All the shelters are emptying out because people want companionship during the the pandemic. And Johnny, if you do get this dog, do not name it Vinny and beat it up. That's like not okay.
I will not name the dog Vinny Beetle. I will not name the dog Vinny Beetle. Well, he's the dog, but I won't name the dog Vinny Beetle. Cronin, what are you doing over there, Mikey?
I'm looking. I have a picture that I saved of Katie posing with her Saint Bernard that I liked it so much I saved it. She's got a big hat.
I'm like,
on.
what kind of picture?
Yeah, Katie.
If I see pictures on Facebook of my friends that I like, I save them.
Aw.
Mike is stalking you, Katie.
Thank you.
And it's funny because this picture came up last night. I was at my pastor's house, and we're going through pictures, and one of his daughters said, "Who's that?" I said, "That's my friend Katie."
Wait, so you don't have a picture of my brother saved on your phone, right? I'm more popular.
No, I don't have any of John. I have this one of you. I love this picture of you.
Oh, thank you.
I have that one with the sunflower. Awesome. And then I have another one with the dog. You have a big brim hat on like that.
I'm into the hats.
It looks good, Katie. It looks
I
good.
like
You and
that
John,
too.
impeccable.
Thank
Yes,
you.
the O'Connor Kilhorey clan can definitely rock a topside. That's for sure.
Hey, so we did a lot on this episode. Katie, come on a little later as a surprise guest to surprise Johnny.
Thank you again.
We kept it late for a while, and then I had to give get into my little discussion on Vinny Beetle. We got that out, and Johnny wound up having a similar situation that Katie pointed out. So I'm glad I got it out. Put it out there tonight. We share it on Facebook, and that's it. I'm done with Vinny Beetle. This is it. I've done an exorcism. Done with him.
Good for you, buddy. I think a lot of people will be done with him after this.
Me too.
I'm hoping other people will say he's an asshole for doing what he did. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
am I a little stupid? You know what? I'm Italian, Irish, and Polish. My mother was Irish and Polish. I blame it on the Polish. If I was Italian and Irish, this wouldn't have happened. But because I'm Polish, I was stupid and I gave him the money. So I blame it on the Polish.
And then you're
How can I
also
do?
Irish, so you had a drink to
Yeah.
calm yourself down. You needed to lay heavy on the Italian. He could have put him in the river, you know?
Yeah. Should have laid heavy on the Italian.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm Polish and I screwed up.
Some extra sauce.
Yes. Well, we got to have you back on. Katie, we're definitely going to have you back on with John. You've been a great guest.
I'd love to.
Yeah,
And
you-
me, of course.
Yeah,
Of
you
course.
were awesome.
Of
You were
course.
awesome.
I have fun on these all the time.
Yeah, I'll message you soon and I'll give you another date when John's on. I'd love to have you on again. You got anything you want to say to wrap it up, Katie?
I hope everybody keeps washing their hands, staying healthy, and go
There's the
drive
Saint
10
Bernard.
hours to get a dog like I did.
Katie, show us the dog. Look at him. He's like the T-Rex in Jurassic Park.
Wow. He's cool. He's cool. Now,
He's
it's
awesome.
pork chop. And what's that St. Bernard's name?
Porter,
Porter.
Like-
And pork chop.
beer.
Katie. Johnny O'Connor, you got on with your sister tonight. What are you going to say to wrap it up, Johnny, with that beautiful bow tie?
Hey, it's my pleasure. Thank you guys for having me. Everybody stay healthy, stay safe, wear a mask. My uncle just died. It's a real thing. Don't get caught up in that nonsense that this isn't real. He just died. He was in the ICU and he died. So
COVID?
don't get caught up in that nonsense. COVID. He was elderly, man, but still, it's real. It's not a fake thing. People are dying from it. So be respectful to people, wear a mask, try to wash your hands, social distance, the whole thing. And everybody download my podcast, Spectacular Show.
Definitely, Johnny. Definitely.
Happy
That is the worst
birthday,
thing.
Jay.
Happy
I went
birthday,
from my
John. When was your birthday? When was
thank
his
you.
birthday? When was it?
October 8th.
October 8th. Happy birthday. My son was 30 today. I
Thank
can't believe it. 30 years
Good
old.
for him.
Great having the O'Connors on. Mikey Cronin, what are you going to say to wrap it up?
I am humbled and honored to be on the show. I was very excited because I knew about Katie's guest appearance. I'm like a kid on Christmas Eve waiting for Christmas morning. I held it in. I didn't tell anybody about it. I was very excited. I'm a big fan of Katie.
Aw.
John, always love being on with you, John O'Connor. Your stories. Matter of fact, out of respect to you, I was gonna rock. I've got many Scully caps, so I said to myself, do I go through hair and makeup? I said, no, let's not go through hair and makeup. So I said, you know what? I'll wear a Scully cap. I said, whoa. John O'Connor might be wearing a Scully cap. You need to defer to him. So I didn't wear the Scully cap. Jessica,
I appreciate that.
always a pleasure to be hanging out with you, my dear friend. Even though you don't take my calls to help me to quit smoking cigarettes, I still love you. John, with this situation, Jesus would tell us, pray for our enemies, pray for those who persecute us, and watch how fast God turns that situation around for you in terms of taking any angst that you may have in you. I pray God's favor over each and every one of us on this panel tonight and all the boys and girls viewing at home. God has us. He'll see us through this pandemic. God sits on the throne. God bless you all.
Amen.
Mikey,
Amen.
good to have you. Jessica Leigh, you got the final word to
My
wrap this
laptop
episode up.
Sleep. The thing just came up and said it's going to go to sleep, so I'm hoping to get this out. It was so good to talk to everybody. It was so good to see Katie and John and Mike, as always, to see you. And John Perrotta, if there is anything that you have picked up tonight, I mean, it's seriously that you have a heart of gold. You know, that is the lesson for you. You know, whatever, you know, Vinny Beatles lessons are, those are his, but you have, like, you know, you have unconditional love in your heart for everybody, and you're able to see people for who they are and like embrace changes and things like that, and that makes you an absolute rock star. And
You're my therapist, so if you say that, I gotta believe
know,
you.
but see, now you get to leave this here. You use the therapy tonight. You use the space, and now you can leave it here, and you won't be upset later.
This is why we have the weekly check-in. I don't know if you know, Katie, Jess is a therapist during the day, and then every Thursday night, we do the weekly check-in. Jessica helps us out, and it's free of charge for the comedians. That's okay. But I want to thank all you guys for coming on. Katie, Jess, Mike,
Thank you
John.
so much.
I'm glad you guys were on. And I got this out tonight, little weekly check-in therapy, and I feel better. And when my wife watches it, she's probably gonna be pissed that he owes me $3,000.
That's next week. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, that'll be next week's episode. All right, everybody, stay healthy, guys. Great seeing you all. Good. Thanks for coming on tonight.